Welcome into your PFF Draft Review, powered by PFF Edge and Elite. Today it's all about the New England Patriots, Sam, who had 2 first-round picks, and they actually used them. They usually trade back when they have all that extra draft capital, but they waited until day 2 to do all the trading back.
Save that for later.
Yeah, save that for a little bit later. An interesting draft. I felt like they only had 6 guys on their draft board. They just went and got their targeted players and then just kept drafting or trading back for the rest of the draft.
Yeah, it was an interesting draft as well because they started out, I think, by outsmarting the rest of the league, and then they kind of came back and had a bit more of a questionable decision. 2 teammates, 2 guys I think that were roommates at one point at Georgia. Isaiah Wynn, the tackle, not guard, tackle from Georgia.
And even though he's only 6'2".
And then Sony Michel later in that first round. Wynn is the guy, though, where I think they really did outsmart the rest of the league. Everybody was projecting this guy to move inside because he's only 6'2". He doesn't stand 6'6" plus the ideal tackle size. But when you look at what he's done as a tackle at Georgia, it's never shown up as a problem. He has always dominated, allowed just 5 total pressures all last season.
Where?
At left tackle in the SEC.
In the SEC, that's right.
Where
that
the competition is as strong as it's going to get in college.
You're learning.
Had the highest, the best pass blocking efficiency score of any offensive tackle in SEC play in 2017. This guy has shown at the moment that he can be a top quality pass blocking left tackle, so the Patriots are going to plug him in there and see if there's any reason he can't play left tackle. I think that is extremely smart rather than projecting him inside automatically to a less valuable position simply because he's not 6'6".
Yeah, we've been hammering that point home for multiple years now, actually. Last year with Forrest Lamp, second-round pick from the Los Angeles Chargers, who was just unbelievable at left tackle during college, and the whole draft process, arms aren't long enough, and all these excuses why he can't play left tackle. Why not try him there first? We agree on that Isaiah Wynn move. Plus, it fills an immediate need for the Patriots. You're talking about a team that does have a starting left guard in Joe Thuney, right guard in Shaq Mason. David Andrews has been solid at center, but Nate Solder, their left tackle, is gone, and it felt like it was going to be this, mishmash, a mash of people trying to replace Solder. So Isaiah Wynn probably gets the first shot at left tackle, and like you said, excellent production in the SEC. Did it for 2 years at guard as well, so he's just a really good all-around football player. And then we love when he goes to the Senior Bowl and has a great week there. He won Offensive Lineman of the Week at the Senior Bowl. That's part of our partnership. We graded every single snap, every single rep that these guys did at the Senior Bowl. We partner with the Senior Bowl. All that data is in our draft guide as a part of your Edge or Elite package, so you can go and see Isaiah Wynn's numbers. So we really liked that pick. And we like the positional value. If he's a tackle, that's a smart move. We don't love running backs in the first round, though, and that's where they went with their second first round.
Yeah, so having outsmarted the rest of the league and done the thing that the analytics says is the smart move, taking a guy and keeping him at tackle, they then come back and do something that the analytics hates. Our analytics guys do not like running back value high up in this draft and taking Sony Michel in the first round when they already have a pretty stacked backfield. Isaiah Wynn, at least you can point to an area of need and saying, okay, that's a move that needs to happen. Running back didn't. The Patriots have got a lot of talent already. They grabbed Sony Michel out of Georgia. And the other aspect of this is he was not the second running back on our board. There was plenty of running back talent that we would have taken ahead of Sony Michel. Having said that, he is a specific style of running back. He is different to a lot of these other guys in the way he runs the ball. I think he's very suited to a zone scheme. He's extremely good at just putting his foot in the ground, one cut, straight up field, accelerates extremely quickly through those holes when he does decide to make the move. I think he's a better receiver than some of these other running back prospects as well, which obviously is critical in today's NFL. He's an interesting pick. I think if any team knows how to use their running backs, it's New England. But also, if any team has shown the relative lack of value of running backs in the way they've been able to just stockpile guys in the backfield and switch from guy to guy, game plan to game plan, it's also the Patriots.
It's true. I do wonder if this is, he is a good receiver, as you said, and if there's a team that can at least maximize running back value, it is the Patriots, because they'll use him, split him out wide and throw him the ball quite a bit. He'll be competing with James White, with Rex Burkhead for those receiving snaps. But is he just an immediate Dion Lewis replacement? Because, James White has a very specific role on that team, which they rarely hand the ball off to him. He's a receiving back. I think with with Michelle, just like with Dion Lewis, it does give a little bit more flexibility to the offense. I think that's where they saw that fit and why they went and targeted him in the first round.
And that style does lend itself to big plays. If you look at this graphic right here, we can see he had the highest percentage of carries that gained 15 or more yards on the play. So big, explosive plays. Michelle was up over 14% of his total carries. That's the highest percentage of any of these guys in college football last year, including Bryce Love out of Stanford, who was a big play threat every time he touched the ball, but ahead of Rashad Penny as well, the other first-round back in this draft class. So Michelle is a big play threat at any given time, plus he can add to their threat as a receiver.
So then round 2, it was kind of Patriots, classic Patriots. You know, they have multiple picks, they continue to trade back, they grab some draft capital for 2019. But when they did want to make a pick, they traded up to go get Florida's Duke Dawson, staying in the SEC East. And this is where maybe the analytics do like the move because, you know, we've talked about the value of the slot receiver and the slot corner over these last few weeks at PFF. Slot corner more valuable than ever in today's NFL, and that's what Duke Dawson did extremely well at Florida.
Yeah, and critically, one of the most important aspects of projecting how well guys are going to perform at slot corner in the NFL is whether they've done it in college. Not just taking a guy who is a small-bodied outside cornerback and saying, because you're only 5'10", you're now going to man the slot at the next level. Actually look for guys with experience being slot defenders at the college level because those are the guys that translate easily. And Duke Dawson has extensive experience covering the slot, and he's been doing it extremely well at Florida. Have you got some numbers?
Do you want some numbers?
Give me some numbers.
You were setting me up pretty well. So 2016, he had a 64.6 passer rating when targeted in the slot. That was 38th, which doesn't sound great until you see he was out of 250 slot corners in the nation. And then last year, down to 41.4 passer rating into his coverage. That was 8th out of 285. So that's back-to-back years, and a lot of times that number can fluctuate. So when you put back-to-back years together, it bodes well. That means you've done it pretty well for an extended period of time, and that fits in with the Patriots' depth chart that has Stephon Gilmore, Jason McCourty as traditional outside type of cornerbacks. Duke Dawson has a chance for immediate playing time in the slot.
And that second number in particular is fantastic. Anytime you're down in those kind of numbers for any cornerback position, you're doing pretty well. But in the slot in particular, those guys inherently give up more catches because you can't jam the guy at the line of scrimmage a lot of the time. You're going to give up easy receptions to these two-way goes for short yardage. That number is spectacular. One pick I want to touch on, though, is in the 5th round, they drafted Juwan Bentley, linebacker out of Purdue, who absolutely crushed the PFF grading system, had an overall grade of 91.2 this past season. The problem with Bentley, though, is when you turn on the tape, you see a very one-dimensional player, and it's the wrong dimension for today's NFL. This is a run-first linebacker. His run defense grade at PFF last season was 95.0. Anytime you're up in the 95 plus, that is absolutely phenomenal. He had 53 defensive stops this past season, but struggled in coverage. Not a natural coverage defender. That showed up at the Senior Bowl as well. One-on-one drills. He really wasn't good in that area again. But if there's one team that can hide a player's deficiencies and play to his strengths, it's the Patriots. So I am fascinated to see Bentley wind up in the one team I think that might be able to turn a guy like that into a successful NFL linebacker in 2018.
And even if he doesn't become a 3-down linebacker, you know, I guess in the 5th or 6th round, if you are getting this 1-down specific role player, it's not bad value if a guy's really good at it. So if he does become that exceptional run defender, at the very least, there is some value there. The coverage numbers are a concern, though. Last year, he improved to 79.6 from a grading standpoint, reading this straight out of the draft guide. But those previous 3 years, all in the 40s. That's a rough. That full body of work in coverage, 260 pounds, not really your traditional linebacker for today's NFL, but a potential role for Bentley, at least as a run stopper. The one other pick that I think is interesting is Braxton Berrios, the 6th-round pick out of Miami. Kind of your classic undersized slot that the Patriots have, you know, just churned through these last few years. I know it's easy to just say, well, he's the next Danny Amendola now that he's moving on. It takes a lot more than that, just being short and shifty, you know, to be successful in the Patriots offense, but certainly has the skill set to kind of be that next slot receiver. Had a breakout season last year at Miami.
Yeah, so overall, I think this was a reasonable draft. They've made some really interesting picks. I'm just particularly interested by the way they seem to fluctuate between stuff that the analytics loves, thinks is really smart, and back to the stuff that the analytics doesn't think is a great move for 2018. So it's a little bit of smart numbers with the Patriots and a little bit of them doing things their own way.
And you also have to factor in they traded down so much. They had 3 picks in the first 2 rounds and did not pick until they grabbed Bentley in the 5th. By doing that, they added a ton of draft capital for 2019. And on that end, we said, look, this isn't a great draft here in 2018. It seems like they may have agreed with us as well looking forward.
Yeah, the back end of this draft felt like they spent almost the entirety of day 3 just trying to trade for 2019 picks, and the only time they actually made a selection is when they just ran out of time on the clock and had to pick somebody.
Hello, Danny Etling. So there you have it, New England Patriots. That's their draft. A good, solid effort by the Patriots. That's your draft review, powered by PFF Edge and Elite.